All right, we're all welcome to class this morning. Today, we're going to be kickstarting today's class with project management principles. Although this is jumping some of the classes, but I want us to round up with the soft side of the work, so that when we get to the practical side, we could go through all of them at once instead of going and coming. So I'm going to take project management principles and standards, then possibly take the value delivery system. Then we'll now return back to project planning, then creating WBS, creating budgets, and all of those ones. Those ones require us to do some little practicals. So these ones does not really require much practicals. Okay. Okay, so if you once again can hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 1 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 1 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 1 in the chat room. If you can hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 1 in the chat room. All right, thank you. I trust we all enjoyed our week. Last week, Sunday, we couldn't hold a class. We just needed everyone to rest. Okay, and this week we hope to have a full class. So today's class will be rounding up by 4 p.m. So we will do all the best we can within the shortest time we have to see the time we can, to see what we can get within the time. However, we also hope to round up this class this weekend. So in case we are unable to round it up this weekend, then we may have to do that next weekend. But we won't exceed next weekend. So for those of us who have, this is our 4th week already, all right? So for those of us who have intention for exam, we encourage you to get your materials and start preparing for your exam. Now the exam will be slated 2 weeks after the final class. So if we're able to get done this week, that means exam will be in 2 weeks' time. Also, your mock test is 1 week after the class. So if we're getting done today, that means by next weekend, we are writing our test. If whatsoever means we are not able to get done this week, then we'll round up next week. Then our test will be the upper week, and then the exam will be the 2nd week of June. All right. Okay. So I trust we also are paying attention to our group work. Ordinarily in this class, the project work are supposed to be done individually, but for the sake of collaboration and networking and sharing of ideas and experiences, we decided to merge all the people in groups. So whatsoever assignment you've chosen, or whatever assignment you will choose to, or whatever project topic you choose to choose, you will be expected to produce a project plan on it and submit to us via the Google Classroom. Okay. Our basic assignment in this whole program is to help you understand practically how project management works. Maybe not 100%, but to a great extent, how you can apply project management in your place of work, how you can apply project management in your life, how you can apply project management in everything around you to get the best result. So that's all we want to do. So we are just facilitating the knowledge sharing for this class. And then at the end of the day, for those of us who are interested in certification and all of that, I believe we already know what to do. Also, this is the associate level of this program. The lead level comes up by July, and the information will be shared. Now, after completing the lead level, for those of us who could be interested in getting chartered, you could apply for charter. All charters will be released by induction, November, December. So for those of us who are interested in getting chartered, after July, you can sit down and plan and prepare towards that so that you can know how to process your charter. the Chartered Project Management Professional is not issued by IIPM, it's issued by the Chartered Institute of Management Consultants USA. We are only serving as their accredited training institute in Africa. Okay, so we only help you after you might have completed your lead. That means you've met all the requirements, and then you can apply for chartered. There had been this question of what's the difference between being chartered and being certified. Chartered simply means that you're licensed to practice. Certified simply means that you've gone through all the whole professional requirement and you are now recognized as a professional in a field. However, having a professional certificate does not entitle you to becoming a licensed professional. So there are two different things. You can be a certified professional and not a licensed professional or a chartered professional. All right. And it is a government body that issues charter. It is a regulatory body that issues a charter or license, not private, not individual professional bodies that do so. It is a government regulatory agency that issues charter, just like we have COREN, Council of Regulatory Engineering Nigeria, something Council of something Regulation of Engineers in Nigeria, something like that. And we'll have a whole lot of that. Even as it were, some of us might be aware of Project Management Institute USA. Well, Project Management Institute USA is just in the same level of IIPM. So neither IIPM nor PMI can issue you a charter. So it's only those organizations that are owned by government, regulatory councils, regulatory agencies that do that. In Nigeria, we have CIPMN, that's Chartered Institute of Project Management, Chartered Institute of Project Managers of Nigeria. It was established in 2019, and it's still a new regulatory body, so their full-scale operations has not been in vogue. Then have some other chartered organizations like CIMC, the Management Consultant USA, that we have the accreditations to help our clients who have passed through and met all the requirements to get their chartered for international practice. Okay, all right. So in case you have a question on what's the difference between a charter and certification, I think I just answered that right now. So that's just for today. We're going to move with project management principle. But before we move on, I would like to have a question or a concern. If you have a question or a concern in all that we've been learning so far, please, you can feel free to ask. And then I will just give us 5 minutes. If you have a question, you have a concern, you could just raise your hand, and then I will provide the answers, and then we'll move on. Is anyone with a question? Is anyone with a concern? Okay, so I suspect no question and no. All right. Engineer Fomba, please kindly omit and listen for me.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How is Cameroon today?
No, Cameroon is good. Bamenda is fine. I'm in Bamenda, the Northwest region.
All right, all right.
Where we have the crisis.
He's well. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, I just needed to know more about the charter system. Does it mean that after, for example, after taking this class and I have my certification, can I just go straight into the charter exam, or I don't know, or how is our done?
Okay, so for us in IPM, after you've completed our programs and you want to get chartered, the only thing you need to do is to pay for the charter. You don't need to write any other exam. The exams you've written already suffice. So we only transfer your transcripts and documentation of what you've done to CIMC USA. So the process and sent to us in Nigeria. Now that you are in Cameroon, what would do is that when they are sending, they send your own to your country, your preferred address.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is no further examination needed. The only thing needed to pay is your license fee or your chartered certification fee. That's all.
Okay, I will need to know how much it costs. Maybe that you can talk about that later, if I don't mind. Or
provide all of those information, especially after you've completed your second level, which is the lead level, because charter is only for the senior level. You must have completed all levels before you get charter. It's not for associate members only, or for associate professionals. It's for lead management professionals or senior management professionals.
so that means I'm not entitled to charter after this program.
You will get your chartered when you're done with associate level. There's another level called the senior level, the lead level.
Okay, I understand.
So after you've completed your LPMP, then you can apply for charter.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, please, Lami. Please,
yes,
you can open. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. You can go ahead, sir. You're welcome.
Sorry, I have a concern, sir.
Please go ahead, sir.
With regards to the exam, you know, some of us skip some lectures, like the second lectures,
Okay.
due to some issues. So I don't know whether the material will be available to prepare for the exam. So that's my concern, I said.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've established from the beginning of this class that this whole program is 100% free for attendees. If you want to just attend, get the knowledge, build your strategic competencies, we are giving this program out for free. Now, if you now want to write exam and get the certificate, you have to pay for your study materials, pay for your examination, pay for your mock test, and pay for your certificate. And we've shared most of those things in the chat room. So please, Mr. Lamin, I would like to confirm, are you in the WhatsApp group? Mr. Lamin, please, are you in the WhatsApp group? Kindly confirm.
Yes, I'm in the WhatsApp group, yes.
So all of this information has been shared there over and over again. Okay, they've been shared there over and over again. All right. Okay. So if you are interested in the certification, anyone interested in certification automatically must get to have the study materials, prepare for your mock test, prepare for your exam, and then pay for your certificate. In total, all of this is 65,000 naira at discounted rate. Now, if it were to be a full-blown program, that's 125,000 naira for Nigerians and those paying in naira. But we are providing it just for 65,000 for anyone who is interested in getting it. So if you wish, you can pay instrumentally according to the breakdown we've provided in the WhatsApp group, in the emails, and in most of the classes. If you wish to pay at once, you're welcome. So whichever one that is most convenient for you, you're welcome.
In dollars?
In dollars is 179.
179. So payment should be done before the exam, isn't it? So that we can have the materials.
Yes. As soon as some people have already actually made payment for their materials as they hope to write exam. So in case you're interested, all you need to, you can break down the payment. It mustn't be done at once. You can break it down. Yeah, you can break it down so that you can have your material first and then do your mock test, do your exam, and then pay for your certificate. But everything in total is 65,000 naira or $179.
$179.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay. Does any other person have any form of concern? Okay, so I think I've exhausted my 5 minutes. So now I can return back to class. So everyone is welcome. So I said, when we focus on the practical classes more often, it drags our class. So what I want to do is that, let me round up with the ones that have little or no practicals in them. And then when we come back to the ones that have practicals, we know that we can take all the time that we need. Okay, so I'm going to jump some classes. I think we are still at the 4th class, which is at project management governance. But I'm going to jump project planning. I'm going to jump project budgeting, creating WBS, managing timelines, project charter. And then I'm going to have to take project management principles. I'm going to take value delivery system, and then we go back to project planning, budgeting, and all of that, so that practically it can be easy for us. And since they are all interrelated, one leading to another, we can easily manage the practical section without having to bother about the time lag. Also, I've just made mention this morning that this class we're supposed to be ending, according to our calendar, we're supposed to be ending this week, but we had an off day last Sunday, so we are possibly going to end. We hope to end this class by next week. Okay, by all means. So we encourage everyone interested in certification, please get your materials. All the videos are available on our YouTube. Okay, just make sure you get those information and start preparing for your exam. Mock test is 1 week after the final class. Exam is 2 weeks after the final class. And your certificate is 14 days. Soft copy is 14 days after the exam, and hard copy is 28 days after the exam. So you have 14 days for the soft copy and 14 days afterwards for your hard copy. Okay, so everything within a space of 3 months, you're done with your program. And I said also that the senior level, the lead project management professional course starts in July. The information will be passed across to every one of us. So for those of us who are interested in running the program through to the lead management project management professionals, then you could prepare for July. Project management only has 3 levels, but we gave foundation as a waiver. We've actually been dealing with the foundation since we started, and it is a complete waiver. So, and there is no certificate coming with that, but you have your certificate starting from the certified associate project management professional, and then after that, you go to the lead project management professional. Also, we made an announcement within the week. We are working on a project to make sure that everyone who has a certificate gets to have their badge on LinkedIn. So if you are on LinkedIn, please ensure to follow our page on LinkedIn. The instruction on how to put up your certificate and all of that, and then how the badge will be provided for you on your LinkedIn for easy verification of certificates and for easy recommendations and endorsements will be provided as we move on in our relationship with you. Okay. So that's just that. So in case you've not followed us on LinkedIn, please feel free to join us on LinkedIn or just follow us on LinkedIn. Integrated Institute of Professional Management, Integrated Institute of Professional Management, just click on follow, and that's it. Now, project management principles. In this section, by the end of the session, participants will be able to appreciate the principles of project management, mention the project management principles, and apply the project management principles. By introduction, principles for a profession serve as foundational guidelines for strategy, decision-making, and problem solving. Professional standards and methodologies are often based on principles. In some professions, principles serve as laws or rules and are therefore prescriptive in nature. The principles of project management are not prescriptive in nature. Now, before the introduction of Project Management Book of Knowledge, the 7th edition, we didn't have to bother about project management principles or the project management standards. But in the 7th edition, there is an inclusion of project management principles and standards. So project management principles and standards are just part of the new inclusions in project management field. It has been there, but primarily it has not been in the book. So now as project managers, we have defined certain standards. We have defined certain principles that we must follow in delivering our job. The project management principles is more of codes of conduct, the acceptable behaviors that project managers, project management firms, project consulting firms should follow while carrying out their duties as project managers with their clients and their wards. So those are the little things we will be looking to. So they are much more of character-based, behavioral-based, they're more of leadership-driven, okay? And we'll look at them in a moment. They are intended to guide the behavior of people involved in projects. They are broadly based, so there are many ways individuals and organizations can maintain alignment with the principles. So remember, it is said it is not prescriptive in nature. That means it's not something you say you have to do it this way, you have to do it that way. No. These are standards providing us with some levels for which we can comply. So it provides us with basis for compliance. But the performance aspect of it is dependent on the organization and the project manager on how they will apply this to the organization so that they can be in conformance with or in compliance with international standards of project management. For instance, let me use this as a case. If your company is a taxpayer, the federal government or the tax collecting agencies could say, okay, all taxes should be cleared on or before maybe 20th or 30th of a particular month. Now, that's just a standard. It doesn't mean that everybody must do it that day. It doesn't mean that everybody must follow through a particular consulting firm to pay. It doesn't mean that they must follow through one particular avenue to do that. Or it's not prescriptive. It doesn't give them guideline. Or will I say, doesn't enforce that on them. But however, it makes it open for people to understand the reason why they need to comply, and also the consequences of not complying and the implications of complying all have to be laid out. Okay. Now, principles can, but do not necessarily reflect morals. A code of ethics is related to morals. So principles on themselves are not necessarily morals. Okay, and that's why in trying to talk about principles in project management context, we want to have a unifying form of similarities in the way projects are done, in the way clients are treated, in the way stakeholders are managed, irrespective of your moral value, irrespective of your own personal disposition. There should be some certain levels of standards, behavioral standards expected from project manager. Whether you are from the east, from the west, from the north, from the south, wherever you're from, whether you're from Africa, you're from Europe, it doesn't really matter. Whether you're from Asia or you're from Latin America, it doesn't really matter. So what matters most is that these standards just need to be followed. Whether you're in Nigeria, you're in Cameroon, you're in Gambia, it doesn't really matter. Okay, but the standards must be followed as project management profession. A code of ethics for a profession can be adopted by an individual or profession to establish expectations for moral conduct. Now, what are these project management principles? We have 12 of them. Number one is be a diligent, respectful, and caring steward. We must understand that the work we're doing, the assignment that has been trusted into your hands, they are not our own. It is entrusted into our hands on the basis of trust, the trust that will have the competency, the trust that will have the knowledge, the trust that will have the skills to be able to deliver. So we have to be diligent, we have to be respectful, we have to be caring stewards. Okay, very, very important. Now, a steward is someone who takes care of something for the owner. So we all need to understand that we're more of caretakers. Then secondly, is to create a collaborative project team environment. Every project manager understands the place of communication, and communication mostly is built on the basis of leadership. So every project manager, therefore, understand his place as a leader, or must need to understand his place as a leader via effective communication. And that effective communication will help in fostering a collaborative work environment. Now, in talking about collaborative work environment today, collaborative work environment can be achieved either digitally, having a culture that supports collaboration. And one thing with collaboration is that collaboration is foundational to innovation, is foundational to corporate creativity and corporate innovativeness. So if we must have our team to be creative, if we must have our team to be innovative, if we must have our team to communicate effectively, then we must create a culture of collaboration, effective collaboration, not forced collaboration, but effective collaboration. I was in a training over within the week, and one of the speakers said something, talking about an agile environment, right? Agile environment. He said that in his particular company, that all the staff can do everything. So you are in accounting, but you can do the work of a receptionist. You are a receptionist, you can do the work of accountant. You are a receptionist, you can do the work of a security man. The security man can do the work of a driver. The driver can do the work of an accountant. So that environment made it so open that apart from agility, it is also collaborative in nature. So project managers need to understand the place of effective collaboration in team building and also for effectiveness in project execution. All right, that's very, very important. Now, number 3 is that project managers need to effectively engage with stakeholders. We cannot talk less of stakeholders. We've been emphasizing on stakeholders. Last week, we had a section on stakeholder management. So we cannot talk less on stakeholder management. So project managers must have need to fully engage with stakeholders. Now, last week, we dealt with understanding or identifying one of the processes we dealt with was identifying stakeholders and then having the chart on how to manage them. So if we go back to our stakeholder management grid, it will help us to know how to effectively identify stakeholders and also engage stakeholders for the essence of ensuring project success. All right. Then another principle is that project managers and their team should focus on value. Project managers should focus on value. IPM is a hybrid organization. IPM is a hybrid organization, and that's why you see us run the way we run. We're hybrid in the sense that we are a profit-making organization and also a non-profit-making organization. Okay. Since the inception of IPM, we've trained over 5,000 people for free in different categories of programs. Some of them we've never seen them before, and we may never see them. Okay. Then also we've had people we've trained for certain programs at paid fees. Like what we're having now, you see that this program is a hybrid program. If you want, you could categorize it as non-profit making for those who are not interested in the certification. At the other side, you could categorize it as profit making because at the end of the day, those who are interested in certification gets to pay. So, but there is something about IPM. No matter what we do, our concern is much more on the value we deliver. 99% of our effort is on value delivery, value creation, ensuring an effectiveness of service, ensuring that everyone that gets across IPM gets to have quality service, okay, quality delivery, quality encounters with us, have quality impact, have an assurance that whatever competency is learning, it can be applicable in what he or she is going to do or will be doing with his life. Okay, so our attention primarily is on value. And does that mean every business should be operating the way IPM does? No, but every business, every project manager needs to understand the value content of the project is doing. If not, it will be difficult to sell out products of that project. It will be difficult to get stakeholders convinced. It will be difficult to get customers convinced about this product or about this project. So we must learn to focus on value. Now, there is what we call value proposition in marketing or product development. When you pick out a product, a prospective product, or an existing product you want to modify or innovate, the first question you want to ask is, what are the benefits of this product? What are the benefits? What solutions does this product provide? Now, another question you may want to ask is, what are the pains? What are the problems that the customers, the people that this product are meant for, what are the pains? What are the problems they are facing? You have to create a relationship between those problems and the value you're providing. If the value your product is providing can solve those problems, then you could say you have a product or you have a project. Now, if it can't, you don't have a product, you don't have a project. So we must do thorough value analysis. And that's why after this class, we're going to go to value delivery system so that we understand how this whole value thing goes about. You know, I may not know about other organizations, but in IIPM, I'll repeat this again, 99.9% of our focus is on value delivery, is on value, our value delivery system. And that's why in IPM, if you come for any of our programs, and at the end of the day, you decided and say you're not paying for certification, nobody will ever call you. Nobody will ever send you email in the name of we're trying to remind you to pay this or that. No, we can only give you reminders within the period of this program. As soon as the period is over and you are unable to make up your mind, we assume that you don't have intentions. So we don't want to disturb you, but we try to follow up and find out, okay, did you get value? And that's why we'll ask you for your recommendations on the Google Classroom. And then when you fill your attendance, we'll also follow through with your recommendations and follow through with your appraisals. We want to be sure that, okay, this thing we're doing, it has value for the people. You might think that you're not spending resources, but the truth is, whether you're paying for it or you're not, you're spending resources. You're spending your time, which is an invaluable resource. You're spending your data. And another thing is that you're spending your energy. So the most intangible, sometimes irredeemable resources of nature, you are all spending them here. So you have enough of resources invested already. So when we look at the financial side, it's just to make commitments, all right? So all of us as project managers must understand the place of value. And also it's important for us to know, when the value is not known, customers will be dragging their feet, stakeholders will be dragging their feet, everybody will be dragging their feet because they don't know what is in it for them. They don't understand the problem that this project is about to solve. And that's why some of us that work in NGOs will come up with projects, but we find it difficult to convince donors to come on board because the donor does not really see the value content of the whole project. Okay, the donor need to understand the whole value proposition. And sometimes when we talk about value, please, I want us to know, it's good we always pay attention to the SDG goals, the Sustainable Development Goals. All right, it's good we pay attention. Whenever we are developing value, let it be that the value we are developing has sustainable impact factor. It has sustainable impact factor. It has the value we are creating, sustainable impact factor. A question someone will ask, he said, does, for instance, people that make beverages, do they have sustainable impact factor? Is it not something somebody buys and drink immediately and it discards the bottles and all of that? But the person that drank only the liquid and discarded the bottle just made another raw material available for someone who will recycle that and maybe turn it into plastic chairs, plastic tables, plastic whatsoever. Okay, and they brought something crazy to my office. Was yesterday. Somebody telling me about green energy projects. Green energy projects. Wow. And that's one of the projects we'll be embarking on soon. One NGO from Philippines. Is it Philippi or Philippines? Okay, so they are from Philippi. The Philippines. Now, this project is that they have a framework, a model that they can use to create alternative source of energy, like renewable energy. You can create your own solar without having to bother about buying solar panel buying inverters and all of that, all right? So you could use the things around you to create your own solar panel. You could use the things around you to create your own power banks. You could use the things around you to create your own electricity, your own energy, okay? And it doesn't need to cost you that much, all right? You could gather those things from the back of your house, from under your bed, from your kitchen, from wherever, okay? So what are they doing? The people, now, one of the things they say is that for the energy, solar energy, you don't need to buy a bulb, right? So all you need is to have something like Coca-Cola bottle, the PET bottle, okay? And then you remove the red coating, and then you have your bulb. You cut it the way you want it, and then you have your bulb. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Now to Coca-Cola, if you look at their bottle, they will say, recycle me, all right? So that tells you that this particular product is not just for drinking. There is a sustainable impact factor in it, okay? And someone that is maybe providing consulting services will say, okay, I'm just a HR practitioner. So what is the sustainable impact factor in it? You have to look and find out what the sustainable impact factor is. Okay, you need to find out. Every project must have sustainable impact, because that sustainability, now let me be very conscious on this. I needed to be conscious of this. That the level of sustainability of project is what actually determines the level of return on investment. Do we want to make a quick return on investment, or want to make a return on investment over and over and over and over again? Okay, that's what businesses are looking at. So project managers need to do what? Focus on value. Now, I want you to do something for me. In the chat room, I would like you to type in the chat room, type focus on value. Focus on value. Focus on value. I want you to type that. Focus on value. I want you to type that. Focus on value. Focus on value. Focus on value. Focus on value. Okay, so I need you to type in the chat room, focus on value. All right, thank you so much. All right, so we need to all do what? Focus on value. Now, the next one is to recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interactions. Recognize, evaluate, and respond to system interactions. No matter the value you want to create and give, you must understand that the value is delivered through system. So we need to recognize, how does this system work? If the system is not working well, then we need to evaluate why the system is not delivering, and then respond to the changes and make sure that there is effective interaction among the system, the processes, the procedures, the policies, the culture, the people working the tools. There should be an effective interaction. From beginning of the project to the end of the project, all processes involved must have to collaborate effectively, work effectively within themselves to be able to deliver results, right? Then the next one is demonstrate leadership behaviors. I've said a little about this when I spoke about collaboration. Every project manager must learn to exhibit high levels of leadership behaviors. You know, in project management, our behaviors have a great role to play. Our behaviors have a great role to play in synergizing people together, synergizing processes, having stakeholders to work with us. So every project manager needs to develop their leadership abilities. Not just developing the leadership abilities, develop your executive leadership abilities, develop your strategic leadership abilities. Okay, all around leadership. Okay, so as to be able to deliver effectively. Now, the next one is tailor-based on context. Every project should be tailored to suit a context. Don't use the approach for project A to approach project B. They might not be the same. Even if they appear to be the same, they might not be in the same environment. Even if they are in the same environment, they might not be in the same at the same time. Even if they happen to be at the same time, they might not be with the same people. So we must tailor-made. Even if you're doing it at the same time with the same people at the same place, it might not be for the same stakeholder. So every project needs to be tailor-made. Then another thing is to build quality into processes and deliverables. Okay. Now, this goes back to talking about value, right? For us in IPM, for a case, whether we are running a program, there is a free program, or we are running a program that is a paid program, there is no difference in the value, in the processes, except you have to do, sorry, just a moment, please. Sorry for that little pause. Okay, so I was talking about building quality into processes and deliverables. So every project manager need to put that into consideration. We don't need to be shallow in our work. We need to make sure that the processes meet up with standards. Processes are in conformance with regulatory standards. Okay, that's very, very important. And then another thing is to navigate complexity. Project managers need to be agile, need to be able to anticipate changes, need to be able to break down complex situations, okay, and be able to manage them. No matter how big they might be, project managers need to know how to break down complex situations and be able to manage. And that takes us back to talking about collaborations. As a project manager, you might not be able to do it alone. You might need some other consultants who can help you. You need your team to sit down on this brainstorm and then be able to navigate through complexities, break situations down and be able to find ways out of them. Then optimize risk responses also. We cannot deal with projects without talking about risk. So project managers need to, first of all, follow a proactive approach to risk management, okay, and make sure that the risk responses are optimized, all right? Then also embrace adaptability and resiliency. Like I said, change is just constant. Project agility helps us to be much more adaptable to changes and also get to be much more resilient. You know, how many of us here have a business? You have a business? If you have a business here, type 1 in the chat room. You have a business that have stayed for like 5 years of your own business. You've owned the business for 5 years and it's been running for 5 years. Type 1 in the chat room. Let me see if I have someone like that. You have a business running for 5 years. Yours, you registered the business. You have your staff working with you for 5 years. Can you type 1 in the chat room? Okay, if you have a business that is less than 5 years, okay, you have a business that is less than 5 years, and you've been running it, you have staff. Let me see you type 1 in the chat room. You have a business of your own. You have staff working with you. Okay, so I have someone who has a business and a staff working with him. Now, Mr. Lamin, I want to ask a question. Do you make money every day? Do you make profit every day in business? Have you ever come to some point in your business that you felt like just quitting and just going back to a paid employment. Lami, feel free to give us a voice. Please, you can unmute. Tell us, do you make profit every day?
No, I don't. Hello, sir. I don't make profit every day. And also what you have said, sometimes I do have this mind to quit my business to go to employment because it's hard, very hard.
So what keeps you going?
The motivation keeps me going that you will make it. That sometimes I said to myself, no, I know I will make it because people made it, so I will make it. But sometimes I said to myself, why in fact do I enter into this? Yes.
All right, thank you so much for being honest, sir. Okay, now you see, one thing with business is that even the most paid employees don't know that their businesses or the business owners have to really go through a whole lot of hard times. Okay, you know, someone said something. He said, as it is with the small businesses, so it is with the big business. Don't think the big businesses don't have challenges. No, it is just for everyone. But we just need to understand these changes and then be able to adapt. Much more importantly, be resilient. Be ready to face these challenges head on. No matter what, you have a vision, you have a value that you want to deliver, you must be head on with it. And tell yourself, no matter what, I will push on. Now, some of us that have businesses, sometimes you just feel like calling every of your staff. It's okay, today, calculate all your salary. We'll pay you off today. Please, from today, stop coming to work because we are not sure we'll come back here tomorrow. Okay, sometimes it do happen, but when you go back to your drawing table, you find that these challenges are part of the things that you need to become much more innovative, much more creative. You get to be much more resilient. And then all you need to do is to find a way to adapt and then move on with the project. So no matter what the situation is, projects shouldn't fail in your hand because of changes that can be maneuvered. That's where I'm going to. There are changes that may not be able to get maneuvered. Maybe if there is no need for a project again, yes, we know, okay, there is no need, or perhaps the government is saying, okay, we don't need this project in this location again. We are closing down this project. There are changes that cannot be changed, right? But there are changes that come as turbulence. It also requires the toughness in us. Leadership contest of our being as project managers come to play, okay, to defend our territory and be able to respond to these changes and be much more resilient to push forward, all right? Then another thing is enable change to achieve the envisioned future state. As part of agility, as part of the change dynamism, project managers need to always work out new paths to achieving their set purposes. So in essence, enabling change to achieve the envisioned future is much more of being dynamic as a project manager. Okay, being what? Dynamic as a project manager. Okay, so Henshaw said something in the chat room. He said, I run registered business of less than 5 years, staff strength solely me, but I majorly leverage on collaborative effort from other colleagues. Okay, so you need to have some staff, even if it's only you. Eh? At some point, you need external motivation, okay? Not necessary for people, but you just have to come out, look at first, why did you start this business? And then look at the challenge before you and ask yourself, the reason for which I started this business, will this challenge cripple it just like that, or you're going to take the bull by the horn? Okay, so it just happens, okay? So if you're just a sole-based business person, maybe with time you add one person, admin assistant, another time you add operations, another time you add, just get like 5 staff. So that maybe in a month you have a fee of maybe 200 to 500 to pay. And then it will actually force you to become much more productive, okay? To give your company much more energy, okay? Everybody must now know, okay, we have to put up more strength, put up our brain to work, get to be more collaborative, work on our value system, and make sure that we are delivering the appropriate value at the right time, okay? All right, thank you so much. Now, in rounding up this summary, being diligent, respectful, and caring steward. Stewardship here includes integrity, care, trustworthiness, and compliance. So like we said, project managers need to know that, yes, they are just taking care of this business for another person, this project for another person. So there should be high sense of integrity, care, trustworthiness, and be able to comply with all regulatory requirements. Then creating a collaborative environment. Project teams work within organizations and professional cultures and guidelines, often establishing their own local culture. Collaborative project team environment facilitates alignment with other organizational cultures and guidelines. Individual and team learning and development, and optimal contributions to deliver desired outcomes. So the bottom line of a collaborative environment lies on having a collaborative culture as an organization or as a project team. Then we have also stakeholders. Stakeholders influence project performance and outcomes. Project teams serve other stakeholders by engaging with them. Stakeholder engagement proactively advances value delivery. Please note the key word there. Stakeholder engagement should be proactive, not reactive. Okay. Stakeholder engagement should be proactive, not reactive. That we've talked so much on focusing on value. Value is the ultimate indicator of project success. Value can be realized throughout the project, at the end of the project, or after the project is complete. So what we must understand, talking about the sustainable impact factor of project, before, during, and after the project, right? Value and benefits, and the benefits that contribute to value can be defined in quantitative or qualitative terms. A focus on outcome allows project teams to support intended benefits that lead to value creation. Project teams evaluate progress and adapt to maximize the expected value. Now we have recognize, evaluate, and respond to interaction. Then we have what we call the systems thinking. Think like the system, okay? Think of the best way your system will deliver value. A project is a system of independent and interacting domains of activity. Systems thinking entails taking a holistic view of how project parts interact with each other and with external systems. Systems are constantly changing, requiring consistent attention to internal and external conditions. Being responsive to system interactions allow project teams to leverage positive outcomes. Our leadership, effective leadership, promotes project success and contributes to positive project outcomes. Any project team member can demonstrate leadership behaviors. Leadership is different than authority. Effective leaders adapt the style to the situation. Effective leaders recognize differences in motivation among project team members. Leaders demonstrate desired behaviors in areas of honesty, integrity, and ethical conduct. Now, talking about tailoring, each project is unique. Project success is based on adapting the unique context of the project to determine the most appropriate methods of producing the desired outcomes. Tailoring the approach is iterative and therefore is a continuous process throughout the project. Now, building quality into the process and deliverables. Project quality entails satisfying stakeholders' expectations and fulfilling project and product requirements. Quality focuses on meeting acceptance criteria for deliverables. Project quality entails ensuring project processes are appropriate and as effective as possible. Navigating complexity. Complexity is the result of human behavior, system interactions, uncertainty, and ambiguity. Complexity can emerge at any point during the project. Complexity can be introduced by events or conditions that affect value, scope, communication, stakeholders, risk, and technological innovation. Project teams can stay vigilant in identifying elements of complexity and use a variety of methods to introduce the amount or impact of complexity. Optimizing risk responses. Individual and overall risks can impact project positively or negatively. We just need to understand that. Risk can be positive in the form of opportunities or negatives in the form of threats. So all we want to do in optimizing risk management responses is to make sure that we increase the risks of positive risk, increase possibility of occurrences of positive risks, and eliminate or reduce the possibilities of occurrences of negative risks. Risks are addressed continually throughout the project, and organizations' risk attitude, appetite, and threshold influence how risk is addressed. Different organizations have different approaches to risk. We just heard from May Henshaw, she outsources most of our projects. That's a risk attitude. Some have risk appetite. Those taking those outsourced projects from her and those she's taking projects from, it's all dependent on the appetite level that they are willing to go. Sometimes ago, someone reached out to us and said, there's a project of, was about 100 million naira. And he needed a facilitator, financial facilitator. And I communicated one of our financial sponsors, and I told him this young man has a project from agency, and he needs so amount of money. And he said that particular level of risk, that he doesn't take it all at once. So if the risk can be broken down, yes, he will be sure to come in. So he cannot take 100 million risk at once. That's his level of risk appetite. He's ready to do 20 million, 25 million, but not ready to do beyond. So if you want to break the 100 million to 25 million, but not at the same time, no problem. But he has to assess the first risk he has taken before he would take another risk. So some of us have such risk risk thresholds. We've had a benchmark that this is the level we can go. And some of us have certain levels of risk appetite. This is I cannot take more than this. All right. Risk responses should be appropriate for the significance of the risk, cost effective, realistic within the project context, agreed to by relevant stakeholders and owned by a responsive person. There's something I want to pick up here. Risk management, risk responses should be cost effective, cost effective, cost effective, cost effective, cost effective. Most of us that provide consulting services, when it comes to pricing, we don't take effectiveness of cost into cognizance. Okay, so we need to put that into consideration. Whenever we're dealing with people on the basis of transaction, on the basis of relationship, note that it is just risks we are transacting. We are transacting levels, different levels of risk. Okay, we are transacting different levels of risk. Okay, so that's just part of it. All right. Then adaptability and resiliency. Adaptability is the ability to respond to changing conditions. Resiliency is the ability to absorb impacts and to recover quickly from a setback or failure. A focus on outcomes rather than output facilitates adaptability. The enabling change for the envisioned state. A structured approach to change helps individuals, groups, and organizations transition from the current state to a future desired state. Change can originate from internal influences or external sources. Enabling change can be challenging as not all stakeholders embrace change. Attempting too much change in a short time can lead to change fatigue and or resistance. Stakeholder engagement and motivational approaches assist in change adoption. Now, I want to pick that second to the last point. Attempting too much change in a short time can lead change fatigue and or resistance. We need to know the level of change we are willing to introduce per time. Okay, know the capacity, do an organizational capacity assessment and know the capacity your organization is, or your life as an individual before you begin to leap. Okay, I've done some crazy things as a person, even as a family person, that I won't advise a student to do that. We might be looking for the same thing, but I will never. For instance, I've had situations where I had to empty my account to go for a training, not bothering of what my family will eat. Okay, because I know things to eat are already in the house. Okay, so if it means eating rice and stew for the remaining period of the month, or for the remaining period, pending when another resource comes in, no problem. If it is if it is Gary we stocked in the house and soup, then we can eat that. And okay, this remaining month, the remaining part of the month, so there will be no rice, there will be no spaghetti, there will be nothing. It's just soup. But why do I have to take such changes? I didn't start taking those changes all of a sudden. No, it has been a gradual process. There were times we did courses of 5,000, did courses of 10,000, did courses of 20,000, we did courses of 50,000, we did courses of 100,000, of 200,000, of 500,000. That there are some courses that if we see them, oh, this one, we think it can produce, it has, let's say, quick return on investment. So you're not really scared of disposing what you have to get it done. But if, as at when I was an undergraduate, and you told me, okay, you need 750, you have a course, even if it's 100,000 as a student, I will find it difficult because I have my school things to deal with. And perhaps at that moment, I've not created enough sources of income. So we need to buy changes or buy into changes that should not wear us out. That's where I'm going to. Okay, changes need to be gradual. Introduction of changes need to be what? Gradual. Okay. In conclusion, these principles are developed to guide behaviors of individuals and organizations within the project management value chain. Without doubt, every player in the project management value chain needs to have these principles for effective management of projects. Now, let's quickly go back to our table of content or our section objectives. The objective number 1 says, by the end of this section, participants will be able to appreciate the principles of project management. So if you appreciated these principles, if you think these principles are what things that project managers should pay attention to, please kindly type Y in the chat room. You think these principles, yes, they can actually guide behavior of project managers in dealing with project or in carrying out projects. If you think this is a well-appreciated principles, kindly type Y in the chat room. Kindly type Y in the chat room. Kindly type Y in the chat room. If you think these principles are well appreciated, type Y in the chat room. Okay, so some people appreciated it. Now, if you don't appreciate it, you think there is no need for it, let's remove it. Let's remove them. Okay, you can also type N, like there is no need of appreciating them. You can type N so that we know your view. And I'm going to ask a question, a very simple case study that we'll discuss maybe for like 10 minutes before we go to the next class. Now, the second thing said we should be able to mention project management principles. So can we mention at least, out of the 12, can we mention at least 5 project management principles? Can we mention at least 5? You could raise your hand just for the sake of making it faster. You could raise your hand so that it will be easier for us to move. Okay, so someone said focus on value. Thank you so much, Adako. Edit. Focus on value. Okay, Mr. Fambang, please kindly unmute. Let's hear from you.
As one of the principles of project management, we have we need to be diligent, respectful, and caring steward. Okay. We equally need to create a collaborative project team environment. We equally need to ensure effective engagement of stakeholders. We equally need to ensure or to demonstrate leadership behaviors. We equally need to tailor the project based on the context.
Okay, so that's enough. Thank you.
We equally need to navigate complexities.
Let's have another person. Thank you, sir. Okay, can we have just one more contribution? I think he has mentioned up to 5. Edith mentioned 1, that's 6. So can we have another person mention 1 or 2? All right, Juan, please go ahead.
Yeah, so discussing project management principles, it has to tailor based on context.
Tailor based on context, thank you.
Build quality into processes and deliverables.
Build quality into processes and deliverables, thank you.
Navigate complexity.
All right, thank you. Is enough, thank you. Okay, so I have May Henshaw. Please, May, kindly unmute and let's hear from you.
Okay, some of the principles include being diligent, a collaborative team environment, demonstrating leadership behaviors. Then we'll try to optimize risk responses, build on quality.
Optimization. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so we have a particular case study here. one of us just joined now, and maybe this case study is something we were discussing in the office. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? On the basis of project management principles. Now, just assume, this is not assumption anyway, it happens every now and then, but just assume that your company has been contracted or had been contacted, not contracted yet, had been contacted by a company's director. And this director says, our department is in need of so, maybe project or procurement or something. And say, please go and give us a proposal with your budget and bring to me. Then you've done your proposal, done your budget, and then your budget, perhaps maybe 15 or 50 million. And the director calls you and say, okay, I've gone through your project proposal. I think you can deliver to what we need, but you have to agree to our terms. And you ask the director, what's the term? The director says, okay, we are going to increase this budget by 100%, making it 200% of the actual budget. So from 50 million is now 100 million. But you're going to take your 50 million and give me 50 million. We are going to share this 200%. We are now going to share it 50-50. And if you were to be the project manager, having gone through the project management principles, what will you do? Did you get my question? If you got my question, please type 1 in it. No, if you got the case study, type 1 in the chat room. If you did not, type 00 so that I can explain it again. Okay, so if you got it, okay, so for those of us that got it, please let me have your view, let me have your interaction. Someone is saying, This year on personal encounter, I think I've had 3 people come to me telling me those same experiences. Okay, this project is coming, but this director says we just have to make this thing double. So what do you think I should do? So let me hear from us. Okay, so Mr. Frombang, kindly unmute and let's hear from you.
Yes, thank you very much. I think on my part, and as a good project manager, that I uphold the values of project management. I uphold the principles of project management, mindful of being a diligent, respectful, and a caring steward. I think I'm not going to accept that because I need to keep my dignity and I need to uphold the values of my profession as a project manager. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. So do we have, let's get more views to this. I have 3 cases on my table now on this matter. So let me hear what we will say. You can just raise your hand and then I will unmute you so that we can all hear. These are practical things happening in the field. even on procurement basis, some directors might not even be aware. Some contractors will go to the field and say, okay, this invoice you're giving me, I need you to make it 50%. So I will pay you your money, but you pay me back my 50%, but you receive this money through your account. Okay. All right. So in this case, as a project manager, having gone through the project management principles, what will you do? Your responses are needed. I hope I'm not talking out of the moon. Where are my project managers? All right, Mr. Shego, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir, for this question, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
I think Mr. Fombang is not a Nigerian, and that is why he instantly raised his hand and gave that comment, sir. But here in Nigeria, but sir, it also depends. If let's say I finish this course and now a certified project manager. So I was asked to submit a proposal, sir. As a starter, sir, I think here in Nigeria, one, we want to comply. But having gone through the project management principles, you know, earlier you said it is not prescriptive. They are just laid down that you must continue to follow. I think, to me personally, I wouldn't actually consent to that. I will decline it and then look forward for another opportunity. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Shegu, for that. Okay, he said there is a possibility that Mr. Fombang is not in Nigeria. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Fombang, your hand is up again. So before I unmute you, May Henshaw said something. She said, I think it's the Nigerian factor, majorly because I hear a lot of this kind of talk. Knowing that your integrity and everything you stand for is at risk. Better you start better you do not start, okay, what you cannot finish. The consequences, sorry, let me see. Better you do not start what you cannot finish. Consequences, or weigh the consequences carefully. All right, thank you. From Ovi, she said, for me, it's an integrity thing. It has nothing to do with nationality. Okay, thank you. All right, so Fombang, let's hear from you again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. My brother, yes, I know that I'm not in Nigeria, but Cameroon and Nigeria, in fact, they are white people, they are brothers, you understand? But in this point, in this scenario here, my main focus is a matter of integrity. There is a need for integrity because we are young, for example, we are young project management professionals that are coming up, and we need to create a different atmosphere. We need to change the story so as to give credibility to project managers as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fombang. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So I will just take one more view. So we are basically concentrating on the first principle, which is be diligent, careful, and respectful. So we are going to be focusing on integrity. Okay, does any other person have a different view to this? Now, has anyone in this class seen a situation like this before? Experienced a situation like this before? How did you handle it? How did you handle it? I will just take one more suggestion, then we'll move on. Are we together? Who is going to give us the final suggestion of this matter? All right, Juan, let's hear from you.
So this is a little bit that, just like Shelly said, the Nigerian factor. I think 99.9% of projects in Nigeria, we have to do things like that. But at the end of the day, I think it depends on the project manager, where he stands in terms of integrity. And I'm sure if project manager has such a proposal, at the end of the day, people will get to know. And those who still give a project to give a project, so that will probably not customer. Because if you agree to such proposal, it's going to speak a lot about you. But people know that, at the end of the day, this man is not going to agree to this, or this project manager is not going to agree to this. Eventually, you get people that will trust you with their job time. We don't get all of them, but I'm sure you get a lot.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joanne, for all of this. Well, I know this question is an everyday occurrence, and it doesn't have nationality. It's not a Nigerian factor. It's not a Cameroonian factor. It's not an American factor. It's just a human factor. Okay. And we talked about enterprise environmental factors, those things outside of the control of the project management team. Now, there is a situation in Nigeria. I don't know how many of us have heard that. NDDC last week or so, or this week, they had this forensic accounting audit that they did. And then the federal government gave an instruction that all the NDDC contractors that were mobilized since 2019 or so for certain projects that have not commenced the project should return all the money, refund all the money. Now, the question someone could ask is, why will government mobilize contractors and yet they are not, they did not go to site, did not start the project and all of that? Now, I have a little experience that can answer this question. There was a young company I consulted for late last year. It's a general service company. They do construction and some other things they do also. Now, this particular company had a contract. That contract was about 236 million. Now, out of the 236 million, the chief man in charge of that, the director of that agency, the person in charge of that agency, demanded for 75 million from that project. 75 million non-traceable to his account, must be paid to his account, 75 million. And then he still had to pay the accountant of that particular agency for his own court, and then pay some other directors and all of that. Maybe out of the 230 something million, he ended up having less than 150 million to work with. So if you go back to building quality into processes and deliverables, you now be wondering, how will this be done? But I will only say one thing, and I will allow us to go think through it, research through it, and then come up with how we are going to face it. Because if you've not faced it, please, one day you will face it, provided you're in this profession and you're advancing every day. Okay, it's not just about paper. No, even if you are working for a company, one day you'll be the one defending your company's project, and then that place you want to defend your project, they will call you by the side and say, we would love to speak to your CEO or MD, but since you are here, let's tell you the terms and conditions. We have our terms. You have to do something. Now, in project management, there is what we call facilitation. Okay, facilitation. I don't mean facilitating classes as I'm doing. There are stakeholders that their roles are responsibly facilitation, facilitate, facilitation. Even if you're filling a government contract these days, there is always a column for facilitation. Okay, facilitation, how much or what percentage for facilitation? Just the way you have 7.5% VAT, you have certain percentage for facilitation. Now, there is nothing wrong in paying facilitators, because there are people that's their job, their own is to get contracts, and you pay them for that, and then you go ahead with your contract. Now, what this takes us back to is that we must pay attention to certain complexities that come up with projects. And when someone says, go and develop a proposal and add your budget, just know that that person is already a stakeholder. So you shouldn't you shouldn't just go and develop a proposal and give the person. Ask the person the question, sir, what is your interest? Ma, what is your interest? So that we know how to build it as part of the facilitation cost. I hope you're understanding me now. Am I telling you to go and do that? No, I'm just telling you simple project management standard that you need to put in place. That project that a person called you or a company contracted your company and say, come, let's ask the person that is bringing you in, please, what is your interest in this project? What do you have a percentage you want to collect for this project? So that you build it in. When you go to submit your project and you put 7.5% VAT, nobody questions that because it's statutory. When you go and put maybe 10% statutory fees, including your stamp duty, other statutory, nobody questions it because you have made it clear that if there is facilitation fee, also put it there, or consulting fee, put it there so that they know. Because the way I just said it now, somebody may think this thing is an evil, is corruption. Well, in project management, we don't know what is corruption. We only find ways to deal with issues. And that's why we say navigate complexities. Did you get to that principle? Did you get to that principle? Let me see without finding it. If you got to that principle, just type 1 in the chat room. If you ever saw that principle, type 1 in the chat room. Navigate complexities. Okay, that's number 3 on this second page. If you ever saw it, just type 1. Okay. So what I just said now, does it make sense to anybody? Or you want to you want to term it corruption management? Okay. Does someone have a name for this? Is it corruption management or is it project management? Oh my God. Oh God. Because somebody was saying this project management class, they're teaching us to do bad things. Okay. Nobody's teaching you to do any bad thing. We just need to understand the principles. And just this thing we just faced now is a case, it's not really a case of integrity, it's a case of complexity. Okay. And you need to find a way out. You cannot pull your company out and say it's not, it's not part of our behavior. Well, you have to go and work on your behavior then. Okay. All right. So thank you for understanding this. And I know no one is going to take it out of context. Remember the process I told you. The stakeholder in question has an interest. Ask the question. Don't just go developing proposal, fixing your own fee. No, you're not the only one doing that project now. That person bringing you in fact, he's the real owner of the project. Okay, so find out the way to manage his own interest too. Remember, we talked about managing stakeholders' interest. So find out how to manage his own interest. Okay, very, very important. All right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, now, before we drop on this section, do I have any question? Any question of any kind? Do you have an encounter you would like to share and how you dealt with it? Maybe with any of the principles. It could be on value, it could be on complexity, it could be on resiliency, it could be on whichever one. If you have any, please, you can go ahead and share with us. Else, I will go to my next class. I'll go to my next class, which is on value delivery system. Value delivery system. Okay, Lamin, please kindly unmute and let's hear from you, sir.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Hello,
Welcome,
can you
sir.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, sir.
Very good. This issue of complexity that you've been just talking about, those of us who are company owners and looking for projects or seeking your projects with the government, or maybe some NGOs or individuals. I cannot say order of the day, but this is happening almost all the projects. Because a project is given to you by somebody, or somebody recommended you to someone, or maybe you bid it. So, but always there are interests that are attached to projects. So that's why this other point of complexity is so important, and I get it. So for us, we don't term it as corruption, but we see that in project, everybody has an interest or has a part to play. So the participant or the person who attached you to a particular project, maybe you want to give him something, and not actually that you are giving it to him, but we consider him as part of the project. So that's the way we consider it. Basically, it's just a contribution that to make an emphasis to what you have just said that I wanted to contribute.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. I really appreciate bringing that emphasis up. Thank you so much. Okay, so I will also want to say this categorically. If you are given a project, whether the person that gave you the project asks for something or not, please, it's always good you go and show your appreciation. At the end of the project, it's always good you show your appreciation, okay? So that you don't close the door, all right? You want to keep up with the relationship. And it's always good the person that gave you that job, always carry him along. If it is possible, give him a role in that project so that he too will know what is happening. Okay, very, very important. Okay, so now that we've, okay, may I show your hand is up? So let's hear from you, please. May, your hand is up.
Okay, yes. It just about this complexity thing. It reminds me.
May, can you unmute? Let's hear from you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm talking about this complexity thing, managing complexity. It just reminds me about a certain proposal my office had to submit. Yeah, I'm a part-time. I do part-time with a Google partner in Nigeria. And once in a while, we are mandated to train youth, organize trainings for youth. So there was this time the MD and I had to submit a proposal at the government office in Lagos to facilitate a free training for entrepreneurs and youth. And for us, it was just a matter of numbers, trying to get as many youths as possible to key in, because it meant we're going to get better payment from Google. But the training is a free training. So at the time we're meeting the committee at the government office, they asked a question, and they said, okay, you guys are saying this is free. Are you sure it's really free? If you're going back to write a proposal or submit invoice to us, be sure that everything you need for this training is inculcated in your proposal or invoice. Don't come back and tell us that, oh, we forgot to add one thing. So it just brings to mind, because we had to quickly think about it. Do we need to make money from this outside what Google has mandated us to do? So it's really important we have everything sorted out before we take up any project. Because I'm sure for them, they're already calculating, okay, if these people are saying it's free, that means we can make one or two from this training. Maybe we're presenting it to the governor, we can say, okay, it's costing this particular amount and all that. So I think it's really important everything is sorted out before anybody decides to take on any project.
Thank you so much, May, for sharing on that experience. You know, some of us NGOs, we have these kind of projects too. Like we in IPM now, we're having a project, a CSR project to train and induct 100 directors from ministries, departments, and agencies. And we've been receiving that call, like, are you really sure this is free? Okay, like, I know some of the ministries that will call, and after we tell them that it's free, they say, okay, we'll get back to you. After 2-3 days, they will call back again. Said, my director said we need to find out because we know the cost of this kind of program. Okay, you mean you're going to do it in this particular hotel? He said, yes. You mean you're going to, we have given you a word. Okay, and then how sure are you? Hope we will not come to that venue that day. You people will tell us to pay anything. So just like May said, whether it is a charitable project, whether it is a profit-driven project, we must have clarity. Remember where we started from when we read the story of Iron. Okay, the Radisson Blue Telecommunication and Iron and his people. One of the reasons their project fell apart was that the clarity wasn't there. So we need to be very sure and conscious of all of this. Okay, so quickly, let's look at value delivery system. Just a moment, I will be with you. I just want to see something. Okay, value delivery system. Value delivery system. We're going to be quite fast today because I said we are going to be closing by 4 p.m. Nigerian time or West African time. Okay, value delivery system. We've spoken so much about value. So inevitably, what we want to now look at is the delivery system of value, right? Now, I want to ask a very simple question in simple language. What is value? In simple language, what is value? In simple language, in simple terms, what is value? Please, I will appreciate if you just give us a voice. That will be helpful. What is value? What is value? What is value? What is value? Please, if you can still hear me loud and clear, kindly type 11 in the chat room. If you can still hear me loud and clear, please kindly type 11 in the chat room. Okay, thank you for hearing me. Okay, so what is value? In simple terms, what is value? What is value? Value is the quality placed on something. All right, thank you so much, Mr. Farmbank. All right, Joanne, kindly unmute and let's hear from you, please.
Getting what you pay for.
Sorry, can you come again?
I said in simple terms, it just means getting what you pay for. That's how.
Okay, getting what you paid for. All right. Thank you so much. Getting what you paid for. All right, thank you. Can we have just one more contribution to this? What is value? Value, 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 value. What is value? What's value? What's value? Value, okay, value. Let me say anything that comes with quality. All right. Henshaw said value is the importance or what attributed to something or a person. Okay. You know, we have value and we have values. So here we are focusing on value, not values. Okay. The usefulness of something. Thank you so much. Now, quickly, let's move. Value delivery system. No matter how beautiful your project is, if there is no delivery mechanism for it, you just have your project for yourself. Some time ago, one of my mentors told me something. He said, Benito, you need to learn how to make noise. Well, I said, I don't understand. He said, don't just make noise, make a whole lot of noise. make so much noise that everyone will begin to wonder what this noise is all about. Make noise so that the attention will be given to you for you to really say what you have to say or sell what you want to sell. He said that to me around 2017. I did not understand that till around 2020, in the midst of lockdown. That was when I understood the meaning of what he said. And some of us have value, but we've not made a whole lot of noise to tell people or to get the attention of people to the value we have. And some of us have value, we've made a whole lot of noise. Now we are struggling with delivering that value to the people that we've made those noise to. So in project management, value is important. Building in quality in every process and deliverable is important. But importantly too, delivering that value is very important. Remember, production is not complete until it reaches where? Let me see whether we can still remember our economics. Production is not complete until it reaches where? Let me see who I will give gifts today. Production is not complete until it reaches where? Okay. So someone said final consumer, okay. So is it the final consumer or the consumer? Okay, final consumer. Okay, so no matter what we do with a project, it is not complete yet until it gets to the final consumer. All right, very, very important. So all of us got the answer. Thank you. So quickly now, let's look at what this whole value delivery system is all about. By the end of this section, participants will be able to appreciate the integrations that take place in delivering value and explain the role of each integration. So these roles, we are going to look at them one after the other and understand the roles they play or the importance these roles play. By introduction, the information in this section provides a context for value delivery, governance, project functions, the project environment, and the product management. Now, I want you to get something here. You see, this value delivery, the other roles that bounce around this, we have the governance, we have the project functions, we have the project environment, and we have the product management. All of these things are those roles that we're talking about. And then we have to look at their integrations. How do they play all along to make sure that value is delivered? I just said one of my experiences today in one of the classes I had. I went for a class, okay? I went for a course last week. From Monday to Friday, I was on a course. And then it was a HR course, okay? I've been taking a whole lot of HR courses of late. Maybe because HR is actually part of the future. Since the workplace is changing, we must also understand how the people need to change so as to be able to adapt to the workplace, all right? Okay, so in one of the sections, the speaker was speaking on performance management, okay, performance management. And I found that his discussion tilted more towards employee appraisal, performance appraisal. So I tried to draw his attention. Even the case study he brought was on appraisal system or appraisal performance appraisal for employees. So I now was like, okay, so if we have to talk about performance management is a whole lot. Okay, so performance is not just for the employees. So in the place of corporate functions, there is need to understand the place of performance there. In the place of the project environment or the workplace environment, there is also performance in it because the workplace has a whole lot of role to play in driving performance, whether we believe it or yes. The product itself, the service itself has a whole lot to play in driving performance. Management, governance has its own role to play. So when we're talking about value delivery system, we can actually look at it as the entire performance network of an organization. Okay, so in this section, we shall be looking at creating value, organizational governance systems, functions associated with the project environment, product management and considerations. Now we have actually dealt a whole lot with project governance. We've dealt with that last week. We've also dealt with the project environment, where we talked about EF and OPA. We've also looked at some product considerations in the first part of this class, where we looked at product management versus project management. So you may have to review your notes on this. But whichever case, we just want to look at the interplays, the relationship that play among all these things to be able to deliver value. So if you look at all of these things, they need to work hand in hand to be able to deliver value, not creating value. Creating value is just part of the system of value delivery. Okay, very, very important. Organizations exist to create value for stakeholders. Examples of ways that project produce value include, but are not limited to, creating a new product, service, or result that meet the needs of customers or end users, creating positive social or environmental contributions for NGOs, improving efficiency, productivity, effectiveness, or responsiveness, enabling the changes needed to facilitate organizational transition to its desired future state, and sustaining benefits enabled by previous programs, projects, or business operations. Now, according to the Project Management Book of Knowledge, the 7th edition, this is how the value delivery system works. So these are the major components of this value delivery system, the major rules that we have. So we have the creating value, organizational systems, governance system, functions associated with project, the project environment, the product management considerations. Then under the creating value, we have the components of value creation, and we have the information flow. Now, under the functions, we have the 8 functions there. We'll look at them. Then we'll have the project environment, where we have the internal and the external, basically the OPAs and the EFs, right? Then we'll have the product management considerations. Now, in creating value, the value delivery components, from this chart we have here, you can only see the value delivery component. The value delivery components basically comprises of projects, programs, and portfolios. Okay, so you see them basically here. Projects, programs, and portfolios, right? Now, these project programs or portfolios are managed in both internal and external environments that have influences on these project executions. And then at the end of this day, at the end of the day, these project portfolios programs or give birth to operations that must be carried out for the sustainability of the project impact, the portfolio impact, the program impact, right? So value is basically created through projects. Value is basically created through programs. Value is basically created through portfolios or combination of these. Okay, all right. Now, there are various components such as portfolios, programs, portfolios, programs, project, products, and operations that can be considered or that can be used individually and collectively to create value. A system for delivery, for value delivery, is part of organization's internal environment that is subject to policies, procedures, methodologies, frameworks, governance structures, and so forth. So it's one thing to have a value delivery system, is another thing to understand the things that make up the value delivery system, right? Okay, so there is this program we are supposed to have done maybe last week or last 2 weeks as corporate governance consultant. Corporate governance is one area of business consulting that most people don't understand. Even consultants struggle with corporate governance, setting up businesses, managing directors, managing corporate governance structures and frameworks, managing investments and risks and all of that is one area that not every business understands. And because of the lack of understanding, please, I will need you to put this to mind. Because of the lack of understanding or complete absence of the knowledge of corporate governance, most business people are resorted to sole proprietorship business because they don't understand the framework that will grow the business. Some people will tell you, I don't want to have problem with anybody. Okay, so collaboration is not part of, when they say collaboration, is the ones they can manage. So any collaboration that is outside of their knowledge, is outside of their capacity to manage, they throw it away. And that is also limiting the opportunities that come to your business. It is also part of the fact that these people won't be able to manage complexities. I think there is no top business today that doesn't have good governance structures, that doesn't have good governance framework. So all of us, especially those of us that are into business, we need to understand, okay, let me put it this way. Corporate governance, the understanding, the deep understanding of corporate governance lies solely on business executives. So we have the MDs, we have the directors, we have the managing, the executive directors, the what do you call them now? The CEOs, okay, shareholders, and all of that. When you come talking about corporate governance to an employee, he doesn't understand. You're just wasting your time and energy, because his level is not at strategic positions. His level is at tactical position, or at most supervisory positions, like managers. You don't come talking to a manager about corporate governance. He doesn't have the capacity to make the necessary changes that will bring in good governance framework. So if you want to talk about corporate governance, it's majorly for top business executives or top executives, be it government or individuals. All right. So when we talk about corporate governance as part of the things that need to be considered for value creation, that brings us to the knowledge that when we talk about performance, management or top executives have their own role to play in creating favorable conditions for value to be delivered, first to be created and then to be delivered. All right, very, very important. Okay, so if there's anything I would advise you, if you're a business person or you hope to go into business one day, please take your time, go for courses on corporate governance. It will save you a whole lot of stress. Okay. I'm just telling you some of these things by privilege, all right? We just talk about project management and go. But if you actually have the intention of growing your business, you can't grow your business outside of corporate governance, good understanding of corporate governance and how it works, okay? One thing that corporate governance helps you do is that corporate governance brings you to that point to understand that you're just a messenger, okay? You're just a messenger, you're just a steward. And you need to allow the people that own this business to run it. The people that you might be the initiator of the idea, but at the end of the day, there are people that will own the idea. Okay. So it is important we go into good understanding of corporate governance. So Mr. Lamin is asking, so what about those already in business? If you're already in business, it's good you understand corporate governance. Okay, it's good you understand corporate governance. Because, like I said, the absence of the knowledge and competence of corporate governance in most business executives, most CEOs, had resulted to me, myself, and I kind of business, sole proprietorship. Okay, so everything starts from your table and ends on your table. That is so limited. In fact, that is actually the kind of company they should call limited liability company. Okay, and then in corporate governance, do you understand legal frameworks for business? So when you say limited liability company, do you understand the legal implication? When you say limited by guarantee, do you understand the implication? When you say limited by limited by trustees, do you understand the implication? And then when you're starting your business, do you actually know which kind of framework to move your business through? Okay, do you understand the evolutionary process of business development or enterprise? Let me not say business development, enterprise development. So these are some of the things we need to pay attention to, because these are the foundational structures that will give birth or that will become the stepping stone for building value for customers. All right, very, very important, very, very important. So if you are a CEO here or you're a business executive and you've not registered for that course, it's a free course, just as this one. If you're interested in certificate, and it's not an examination-based course, it's an executive program. So you have, but more importantly, our intention there is to help people understand, help CEOs understand. There is no need of holding this business to yourself. You need to start growing, okay? You need to start expanding. And as we are inculcating these things in IPM, we are teaching others, okay? And then how do you manage the risks that come along with all of these whole corporate governance mirage? You get to learn all those things in that particular course. All right, now, information flow. A value delivery system works most effectively when information and feedback are shared consistently among all components, keeping the system aligned with strategy and attuned to the environment. So you could see what we have there. Senior management come up with portfolios through strategies. And then from portfolios, we move to programs and projects. And all we want to have is the desired outcome, the desired benefit, and the desired value. And then from programs, we have programs and projects, we have operations. So this is a cyclic process. And then from the operations, we return back to senior leadership to still work on strategy in the basis of innovation, creativity. They come up with something else. Now, from operations, we go back to programs. From programs, we go back to portfolios, and just in that way. Okay. Now, organizational governance systems. Organizational governance systems. The governance system works alongside the value delivery system to enable smooth workflows, manage issues, and support decision making. So if you look at all of these things we've been talking about, governance. You see, their role is basically to enable smooth workflows, manage issues, and support decision making, right? Now, governance systems provide a framework with functions and processes that guide activities. A governance framework can include elements of oversight, control, value assessment, integration among components, and decision-making capabilities. Governance systems provide an integrated structure for evaluating changes, issues, and risks associated with the environment and any component in the value delivery system. This includes portfolio objectives, program benefits, and deliverables produced by the project. The functions associated with the project. People drive project delivery. Coordinating a collective work effort is extremely important to the success of any project. There are different types of coordination suitable for different contexts. Some projects benefit from decentralized coordination in which project team members self-organize and self-manage. Other projects benefit from centralized coordination with the leadership and guidance of a designated project manager or similar role. Some projects with centralized coordination can also benefit from including self-organized project teams for functions of the work. Regardless of how coordination takes place, supportive leadership models and meaningful continuous engagement between project teams and other stakeholders underpin successful outcomes. So we have basically in functions associated with projects, they can be decentralized or they can be centralized. Whether they are decentralized in the form of the team managing themselves and organizing their work, or centralized in the form of getting maybe a functional manager over them to coordinate their work, whether centralized or decentralized. There is need to have supportive leadership models, okay, to make sure that the project gets to its successful end. Now, the functions associated with projects include providing oversight and coordination, presenting objectives and feedback, facilitating and supporting project activities, performing work and contribute insights, apply expertise, provide business direction and insight, provide resources and direction, maintain governance. So those are the 8 functions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the 8 functions associated with project, all right? The 8 functions associated with project. Now, another important component for value delivery is the project environment. And like I said, we've had a full class on this. Okay, and I think I don't need to spend all time talking about this. Now, just as a recap, project environment is divided into two. You have the internal environment, you have the external environment. The internal environment are the things you and your team can control. External are the things that you and your team may or may not be able to control. All right. Okay, sorry about that. So let me reshare. Okay. So the project environment has internal, two categories, internal and external environment. So the internal environments are those things that your team, you and your team has the ability to handle. They are within your control. External are those things that may or may not be within your control. So they are majorly external to you. Now, under the internal, we have the organizational process assets, which also have the internal and external dimension. And then we have the enterprise environmental factors, which also have the internal and external dimension. So I will refer us back to project environment, which we did in the first week of this program, so that you can have a much understanding of this. Now, in running environmental analysis to be sure of what you want to do and how your value will be delivered, okay, in internal environmental analysis, you could use what we call a SWOT. That's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. SWOT analysis. You evaluate your company, your team, and your project work on the basis of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. For external environment analysis, you can use what we call the PES2 analysis, where we have the political analysis, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental analysis. All right. Now, on the product consideration, product management involves the integration of people, data, processes, and business systems to create, maintain, and develop a product or service throughout its lifecycle. The product lifecycle is a series of phases that represents the evolution of a product from the introduction to growth, maturity, and to retirement. Product management may initiate programs or projects at any point in the product lifecycle to create or enhance specific components, functions, and capabilities. And this is inevitably telling us that product management has a role to play in delivering value, since it is one of the things that can initiate project or programs. And project and programs are the core components of value creation. And that means product management has its own role to play in driving value creation. So this is just the life cycle of a project. Now, if you look at the life cycle of a product, rather, if you look at the life cycle of a product, you see project 1, project 2, project 3, project 4, project 5, project 6, project 7. So it's just moving. And out of this, you have your program A, program B, and then you also have your portfolio governance. So a product life cycle may have series of projects, series of programs, and then maybe part of the whole portfolio system of an organization. All right. Now, in conclusion, every project must be driven by value. Delivering value is an integrated process that requires interplay of different functions, factors, and processes. Organizations must therefore pay attention in delivering effective value delivery system for their projects so as to maximize the benefits. Thank you so much for your time. Do I have any question? Do I have any question, any contribution? We'll soon be going on a break. We'll soon be going on a break after this section. Do I have any question? All right. Please, he or Jay, kindly unmute and let's hear your question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good day, ma.
Yes, sir. Please, I want to find out more on the threat analysis. Why I'm asking that is because presently there's a project we embarked on in my organization. This project was for 36 states of the Federation. But during the planning of the project, they were dividing into lots. So they gave somebody the venue, the contract for the vendor for the venue, let me put it like that. At the end of the day, they couldn't come out with the money for us to be able to carry out effectively the 36 states of the Federation. including the FCT. So today now, as at the beginning of this week, we started the project and we were able to only do for 14 states. Then subsequently, 2 other states joined on Tuesday and so on. So it's like we have not even gotten to half of what we are supposed to. How do we carry out a threat analysis from the beginning, especially concerning all these government organizations? Because I had to start discussing with my project strategy. There's this project strategies in the organization. I said, okay, I wasn't there when you guys were planning. I was not there when you were doing your initiation, but I'm here for execution. And at the end of the day, we have seen all these things because there are little loopholes here and there. And this week, we're not even sure that the orders will be completed. So how do we carry out a threat analysis right from the beginning, maybe from the initiation stage or from the planning stage, to be able to fish out all these areas that can cause challenges in the project? Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Ehizoji, for your question. Okay, do I have any? Can we please attend to her question? Can someone please advise her on what to do? She needs a professional advice. Okay, Mr. Farmbank, please kindly unmute and let's hear from you.
Yeah, it's just a small contribution based on her worries. To make a SWOT analysis on the project, I think this has to begin right from the point of conception, planning, implementation, monitoring and evaluation, and project closure. So the SWOT analysis needs to encompass in all those respective project processes, because each project process has its unique characteristics and its unique challenges. So that's my own take. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your beautiful contribution. Do we have any other contribution to please help? Is on how do we identify all the threats before the project begins? Okay, how do we do that? All right, for the sake of time, let me quickly give my own share of view. Number one thing I would like us to know is that risk identification or risk management is an iterative process. It's not a one-off exercise, it's an iterative process. So there are possibilities that there are risks that may come up as the project goes on that you never anticipated. Okay, for instance, several people that ran into the risk of COVID-19 never anticipated it. But I'm sure that after COVID-19, many people, if they are running projects now, they was okay, in the basis of what happened before, we could also have something like this. So in case something like COVID-19 happen, what do we do? And that has brought about project agility. So that's one thing I want you to know. The project risk assessment or risk management process is an iterative process. So risks can be identified even as the project goes on. But what matters in this kind of situation is your team's ability to adapt to change. That's the principle of adaptability and resiliency. Okay. Now, two, another thing about risk management is there should be allowable time. There should be allowable time when you're dealing with some sort of stakeholders, especially government stakeholders. There should be some sort of allowable time. If you want government to give you any attention, would be it in Nigeria, in Africa, or anywhere, they will ask you to write 30 days notice. That's true. So understanding your stakeholders will help in identifying the possible risks that will come with it. Now, thirdly, is on the basis of stakeholder engagement. stakeholder engagement. Perhaps this project was given to your company to run for another company. Maybe another company will have a different funding agency, and then you have your company running it, and then you have to run it alongside with some Nigerian agencies. So you have a responsibility to let your sponsors understand the kind of people you have as stakeholders. And then you also have the responsibility to let the stakeholders understand the kind of people, or this government alliance you have now. They need to understand the kind of people you have as sponsors. If there are deadlines to the project, if there are constraints to the project, all the parties need to come to it. I think there was a question you asked in one of the classes, and I spoke about having facilitated workshop. In this kind of case, there is always need from these government agencies to have a contact person, so that when there is need for a facilitated workshop or a meeting, everybody can come up and then views can be shared. Okay, and it is good. Remember, we said risks when we talked about optimizing risk responses. We said risks need to be managed proactively. When you have stakeholders, different stakeholders, please ask them before you even start. Let them tell you what the possible risks could be. Okay, last year we had a program for African Union, and that program was done in collaboration with Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports. This was a project that was supposed to have taken place 2019 or so. So when the COVID started, it was like, no, nothing will be done. So they moved it to all to 2019, nothing happened. 2020, nothing happened. And by I think around March 2021, they renegotiated the whole process, and then we started afresh. One of the things we had to do was that the ministry had to give us one of their directors who were working with their department regularly. So he's not the one to make the absolute change, but he was the one to communicate to the PAMSEC. If it is the PAMSEC that is to take decision, if it is minister, but he can communicate to the director, to the PAMSEC communicates to the minister, and within 24 hours, we can easily get response. But if we don't have a contact person, when changes come, and he was the one that used to tell us then, was okay, can we plan this program in 2 months' time? He said, see, government has this now, government has that now, this is what is happening now. If you plan this way, you might not have the presence of the PAMSEC and the minister around. You might not have other ministers around. Okay, so should we do it? So he provided his own share of information so that we can easily identify these threats on time. So when you're dealing with such kind of thing, having to understand your stakeholders and then integrating them into the whole process, it is important. Okay, it is important. I may not understand the full phase of this whole program because you said you're not even in the planning phase, you're just at the execution phase. So part of your work now as an executioner, project execution officer, is to make sure you have some sort of relationship established with the stakeholders and have contact persons that you can easily draw together and have a discussion whenever need be, so that you can know your way forward. This donor also need to be part of this meeting whenever it's happening. If there are changes and alterations, don't just keep it yourself. Raise a red flag on time. If you see a project now, if you see certain changes now that may affect the project's deadline, please raise the red flag now, 30 days, 60 days to the time, so that the donors will know. Not that 24 hours, you now begin to send message and say, because of this, because of that, you will not be considered as an effective leader. Okay, so anything now you're identifying as threat, either now or prospective, start raising the red flag so that you have the consideration, you have the time to deal with it with other stakeholders included. I know I've said something, but let me be sure what I said, it didn't make any sense to you. What I said now, it didn't make any sense to you.
Yes, I made a lot of sense.
All right. Thank you.
It made a lot of sense. But another thing I still want to quickly chip in concerning the corporate governance. The organization is it's a little small one, but the owner has been doing a lot of jobs for a long time. But the corporate governance is not there. After him is the GM. After the GM is one other guy. I really don't know his. But I was asking yesterday, what is your actually your role or your responsibility or your, I don't know what to call it now in the organization, because anytime I'm doing my job, you know, I have a program of I'm managing the project with two project officers, and they are both men, and I'm a woman. So the one that is in one of the projects, the other one doesn't have a problem submitting. He does his job, he's professional. When you ask him questions, he does what he wants to do. But the second one is he's always I don't know what is his challenge, whether it's the ego thing, I don't know. But he finds it difficult to submit, finds it difficult to obey instructions. So he goes over me to go and meet the other guy that I really don't know his function, but that suppose when I came to the organization, he told me this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to do, and all those other things. So now concerning corporate governance, I want to know, how do I handle this kind of issue? Because at the end of the day, I don't want it to affect my job, because anytime my boss formed the WhatsApp chat, him, the general manager, and this young man and myself, so that I will always, so anytime he's on the platform, he's always like, give me reports about this, give me reports about this. But this guy is always coming in, you know, interjecting, wanting to. So I don't know what to just, because when you spoke about corporate governance, I saw that the issue I'm having might be a corporate governance issue. So I just want you to speak a little bit about it, you know, to draw from your wisdom on how to handle such a situation.
All right, thank you so much, Mrs. Hisoji, for your question. However, I must reiterate again that corporate governance is not for managers. It's not for middle staff. It's not for tactical staff. It's only for top management. So your organization need to first of all understand that there is need to have a working governance structure. For you as a person, you can only advise. You cannot, as it were right now, change anything until the organization buys into the idea of, okay, we need to have a governance structure. Okay, so the only way or the only role you can play is make recommendations, make suggestions, and maybe send them to our corporate governance training so that they will come and learn. Because even if it is you that they send to come and learn, you can't change anything. Okay, the organization themselves, the CEO, the directors, the trustees, they are the ones that this responsibility of building a corporate governance structure lies on. Okay, it will pinch them, it will bite them, it will draw some energy from them, but if they are really desirous to get it done, they will work it out. So as it were, just at this moment, your work is advise them, counsel them, encourage them to go for corporate governance training, or maybe you bring in a corporate governance consultant to help them. That's all I can say for now. All right, thank you so much, everyone. We are going to go on break right away. This is, we are returning by 1:30 West African time. So please, let's go on our break. By the time we return at 1:30, we'll drive from 1:30 to 4, and then we go and have a wonderful time. So when we come back, we will now be looking at the project planning. And then from project planning, we'll look at creating WBS. From creating WBS, we'll look at other things. And the way I'm looking at it, we might actually round up this week so that everybody will go and have a rest, good rest, and prepare for other programs. All right, so see you by 1:30. I'm shutting down now. So see you then. You have a wonderful time.